Yo, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's your boy Trevor David Jones back up at it with another episode of Ahsoka. I'm gonna tell y'all something. This show is clutch. It's clutch. Another dope episode, episode 4 from season 1, titled Time to Fly. So without further ado, cut the fluff. Let's jump right in with the positives. So the episode opens up with the ship. They're trying to fix it after not the crash landing, but the kind of an emergency landing on the surface of Cetos. So Huyang is messing around trying to fix up the wiring and get the communications back up and the engine back working. That scene was odd because why would he not know how to instantaneously just fix the ship? I didn't get it. He's a robot. He can have the plans like in his memory core. Like he knows what's going on. But he's messing around like, I'll see if I can fix the wires. You fix the ship. You're a robot. You know what the ship is. If they were missing a part, literally missing a part, I can understand, he has to go get it or so on and so forth. But when it comes to what's actually there and just getting the ship back online, he should be able to do it instantaneously. So that was weird. Like I said in my last review, Huyang is simultaneously extremely useful, but also extremely useless, and I think the writers know that. Obviously, anything I say, the writers, they know. There are a few things that just go outside of their gaze. So they're writing him this way, but he is that way. And to prove my point, the next scene happens. So he's trying to get the comms back up and realizes he needs to go outside the ship to fix it. And then a droid is over there in the shadows. They're about to make a move. How would he not sense that? How? What? This 500-year-old droid with 75% original parts. What is his deal? Like, what is he about? You ain't got no sensors? The droid was like 30 feet away. He didn't know it was there. So take that as you will. Extremely useful and extremely useless. So they cut back to the ship. And man, one of the tightest moments of the episode, all the electricity goes out because Huyang gets into a fist fight, a droid fight with the other droid. Well, he's saying help, but no one can hear him. So to let the people on the ship know that he's there, he just cuts the electricity. Again, that's a smart move. That was smart. Like that was an innovative move in that moment. Extremely useful, extremely useless. So Ren's like, oh man, the droid is just making things worse. Ahsoka, super smart, goes, he wouldn't. And then does one of the dopest, again, this show is full of some of the dopest things I've ever seen in Star Wars, so there you go. But correctly, she goes, he wouldn't because he's a robot. He's only going to do things that are appropriate, that make things better. So she goes, no, that's not possible. He wouldn't. Boom, boom. Whips out the lightsabers, bro. Man, they just know how to make things tight. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, they're on the squad. They know exactly what to do, and they did it again. When she ignited those lightsabers, the movements, it was dope. Just that moment. Go back and watch that. So they're out there, and Huyang's fighting the droid, and I'm like, yo, can they get the droid a strap? Can they get him like a weapon, something? Because man, he's just out there getting flossed. Like, he needs some self-defense. I thought that was odd because when it came to an actual battle, he was basically helpless. So that's not what you want. Drink coffee. So they cut back to the rebels. Well, they're the New Republic now, and the general Syndulla is on her way to go help out. She's like, "If I don't need approval, I'm gonna just take my little ragtag squad and go help." That's cool. I mean, why not? It's gonna help. So they cut over in one of the X-Wings, and it's Carson. This man is the hardest working man in Star Wars, man. He's like, yo, I'm not playing around. Anytime I can show up to the fight, anytime I can show up to anything, I'm just going to be there. And he was in yet another scenario. My man Carson still holding it down for the Mandalorian, still holding it down in general. Hardest working man in Star Wars. So Syndulla's on her way to Cetos to go help out on their own. Smart move. It's a good move. And they show the thrusters of all the X-Wings again. Purple. Remember I told you about the color purple. Enlightenment, truth. So they're going with that theme. I love that. And at this moment I realized the pacing of this episode and not even the show, not just the episode, but the show in general is just amazing. It's just amazing pacing. And why do I say that? Because it's told almost in real time. Like, this is the 4th episode, and they're already about to use the map to call in, or to go retrieve Thrawn. Like, there's not any time wasting. And if you watch the episodes, they're almost told in real time. Like, in those, let's say, in episodes, 50 minutes long, the events of the episode take about 50 minutes. So it's like, it's just amazing, man. Pacing is one of the hardest things to nail in any property. One of the easiest things to mess up. And this show has amazing pacing. So, man, just dope. So at this point, we cut back to Ahsoka and Ren, and they're about to squab. They messed up the droid, but now there's the one Sith guy in the full body suit and Shin Hati. They're about to throw down. And man, this is where Rosario Dawson's acting was on display. It's been on display the whole show, but it was really on display at this moment in the episode. It was amazing. The blink she gave Ren, the calmness of her demeanor, just crazy. Advanced acting. Watch it again. It's not like, I picked this up down the street. It's some real acting. So, shout out to that. And at this point, the battle starts, which is, the whole episode has been exciting so far, literally the whole episode. But the battle starts, which starts to bring in some confusing elements of the show. Let's get into it. So, if Ren, quote unquote, can't use the Force, which they've alluded to, then she would need to stay as far away from Shin Hati as conceivably possible. Because she can't do anything, and she's going to end up losing her life. But Ahsoka takes on the full-body Sith dude, and she sends Ren to go take on Shin Hati. So she can't use the Force, but they're fighting. But then she whips out a lightsaber, and they're fighting hand-to-hand. I'm like, oh, she can use the Force. But then Shin Hati just does the Force push on Ren, so I was like, she can't use the Force? Because as I mentioned in the last episode, and anyone who's really kind of deep in the game on Star Wars knows, when they fight, Jedi instantaneously size up each other's aura. Because, if they can't stop you, you just pick someone up and throw them off a cliff, you know what I mean, with the Force, or just pin them to the ground. You don't even need to take it to fisticuffs to the lightsaber. But if your Force auras are, somewhat equal, or you can just resist being Force pushed, basically, you have to break out the strap. You have to use a lightsaber now to settle your differences. So when Hati just blatantly Force pushed Ren, I was like, so she can't use the Force? The scene was just odd from top to bottom, but it was exciting, but it just introduced more questions about Ren's Force usage. So appropriately, Ahsoka just classes the Sith dude. They mess around for a little bit. Honestly, like I said in the first review, the fight took too long. It should have been quicker, but I know, it's the pacing of the episode, they had to. But Ahsoka did just destroy this dude, as expected. Give me a break. And the influences throughout this whole scene were just amazing. The Japanese influences, the sword over the head, the different stances, the music, the one-hit KO. Because the guy started spinning his lightsaber, but when it came down to it, Ahsoka just hit the midsection slice and just ended this dude's existence. And it was this dramatic explosion, which I thought was exciting as well. But man, yeah, the heavy Japanese influence. And again, I learned that whereas Mandalorian was a Western, this is a Japanese influenced show, and it shows, through and through the whole production. So that was very Japanese influence, and it was just dope. Also, it was just dope. Again, I'm sitting here watching this, getting hyped. This is what you want to see. This is what we all want to see. Very exciting, and yeah, definitely appreciated the influences. So during the fight, after Ahsoka gets rid of Homeboy, he makes kind of screams or whatever. So you go over to Hati and Ren, and they both look over at Ahsoka and them during a sword fight. I thought that moment was hilarious and a little bizarre. You gonna look away? And it wasn't a glance. They were both look, y'all are in a fight. Looked away during a sword fight. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? That was it. Just a hilarious moment, but they put that in there because they were staring. I was like, oh, you might want to get back to the death battle you're having. Strange. And I think ultimately it was more for the pacing of the episode. But Hati, if Ren was actually holding her up to any degree, Heidi must be extremely, and I mean extremely weak, which can't be the case. She seems to be like a full-fledged Sith. Because Ren, even if she can or can't use the Force, which they're making very, very ambiguous now, like almost incomprehensible what her Force usage is, on the ship, she was doing like Padawan training, like the mask and, trying to fight someone that you can't see. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think it was more for the pacing of the episode, but if Shin Hati was actually having any sort of tough time in any way, shape, or form with Ren, then she's extremely weak. But that can't be the case, so yeah, it was just written in there for the show. So Rosario Dawson does her part, and now she's going to go fight Baylan, the Sith master of Shin Hati, to deactivate the map, because they're trying to get it going to go retrieve Thrawn. And again, watch this scene again. Rosario Dawson's acting in this scene is just like superb. It's like pristine. It's crazy, man. Like, it's just so good. It was insane, it was poignant, and it was cold. It was like, because Rosario Dawson in the character of Ahsoka, she has kind of a very laid back demeanor. You're like, how mean can she get? Man, she was like cold-blooded talking to Baylan. She's like, I ain't got no time for you, man. Watch this scene again. Insane acting and just cold. It was good seeing Rosario Dawson's range, and also good seeing Ahsoka's range of personality. Because like I said, she's usually pretty chill, jovial even a lot of the times. But to see her just be like, yo, I ain't got no time for you. To have almost like an attitude, basically, that was cool. You got to see more of her personality. And yeah, then you get to the fight between Ahsoka and Baylan. Standout moment of the episode? I mean, well, we'll get to that in a second. Standout action of the episode, for sure. It was just dope. Ahsoka was doing all sorts of moves. She did like the foot, like going back against the rock to balance herself. Baylan picks up and force throws the rock. She like just slices it. The fight choreography, just the movement of her body, the movement of the whole thing was just amazing. It was just dope. Like it was just dope. Watch it again. And also Ahsoka is just a great Jedi, just in and of herself, trained by Anakin, so she's got the lineage. Her strength was on full display. I said earlier, I think she could take Hati and Baylan, and I think I'm correct. Based on what happened. Yeah, 1,000,000,000,000% the standout action of the episode was the fight between Ahsoka and Baylan. So they cut over to the map, which is, hooked up to the star terminal, and that mode was loading. That mode was loading like freaking like Netscape Navigator, bro. Like, it was actually loading the coordinates. I thought that was hilarious. Like, this is Star Wars. It's very, the technology is very advanced. So you think it would like just flash the memory, or there'd be some sort of that was loading, like buffering to get the coordinates. Hilarious. So shout out to no shout out to loading times, but shout out to the hilarity of that scene. And so Ahsoka does her part. She's just too good, like I said, and she secures the map. She's Ahsoka. You know what I'm saying? The apprentice of Anakin. She's about that life. She, vanquishes or puts Baylan to the side, and she gets the map. However, this mug is extremely hot, so when she grabs it off the terminal, she burns her hand. I'm guessing, somewhat severely. But she did. She stopped them from doing the thing. So after Ahsoka gets the map off the terminal, it's hot, so she drops it. Hati shows up about this time, but Ren is nowhere to be seen. So of course Ahsoka puts two and two together. To her perception, she's like, Ren's dead. Gets mad instantaneously. Just uses forced anger on Hati and just throws her to the side. Like, that moment of the episode was tight. Like I'm saying, we got to see more of Rosario Dawson's acting, but of Ahsoka's personality. She's usually super chilled, got that wry smile on her face at all times. Maybe throws in some jibes, a little attitude, but we got to see her being cold. We got to see some anger. Great episode, man. We just really got to see more of what she's about. Can't say how much I like that. Just amazing. So at this point, Ahsoka gets knocked off a cliff. And, Baylan is able to fight her now because only because she burned her hand picking up that map. So it looked like a pretty severe burn. She's probably in a lot of pain. So her fighting capability has diminished somewhat. So Balin's able to get with her a little bit, and he just throws her off a cliff. Obviously that would never happen in any normal scenario, but she's a little injured, so yeah, so we'll give it to her. But right before that happens, Ren does show up, and Ahsoka's like, okay, thank goodness, my homegirl's still alive. And she knows she's about to go over the edge, but she looks at Ren dead in her face and says, destroy the map. We can't take it away now. I'm a little busted up. Just destroy it. We win. Case closed. You got this. Which Ren agreed to do earlier in the episode. Ahsoka said, can I count on you? Ren said, yeah, I got you. Cool, man. Because, the map is connected to Ezra and so on and so forth. But Ren said she would come through in the clutch. Also, just come through in the clutch. Stop playing. So Ahsoka says, destroy the map right before getting thrown off the cliff. And Ren's like, because Ren has the map in her hand at this point. Obviously, this leads to what is the most insane part of the episode. So not only does Ren not destroy the map, and Balin tells her, he goes, you should listen to your master. Like, that's the logical thing to do. Yeah, it's destroy. Y'all win. Ren would then proceed to get destroyed by Balin and or Hati, or maybe they would leave her alone. Like, ain't got time. Our quarrel's done. Who knows? Regardless, Ren should have just destroyed the map. That's the way to go. She didn't do that. Not only did she not do that, Balin gave her a little speech. We can help you find Ezra. Ren gave the map to Balin. Ren gave the map to the Sith. She just gave it to him. What do you want me to say? It's not a room for improvement. It's just extremely aggravating. What do you want to do? Especially while you're watching the episode. And the scene was kind of protracted too, like they were talking, and I was like, get to the point. Yeah, she just gave it to him, just free. Again, it's not a room for improvement. It's a part of the episode. It's something that happened. It's more along those Kenan and Kel type stuff. I've said before, Kenan and Kel elements, where they're literally about to solve the plot, like on the second of, and do something completely outlandish, just mess everything up. That's classic Kenan and Kel from back in the day. So, there's a reason for it, obviously, but in the context of the episode and watching it, extremely frustrating. And yeah, Ren's just a liability. I don't know. I never watched Rebels. Was she like this back in the show? Because this is the second critical error she's made during this. She took the map away to go solve it during episode 1. Yeah, she's a liability. Maybe they'll have some sort of redemption for her character. I don't know, man. But as it stands, Ren is she's too far gone. Yeah, crazy moment of the episode, but there you go. And look, with that maneuver, Ahsoka was the only individual who did anything good in the entire episode. She was the only one. The droid couldn't fix the ship. He couldn't sense the other droid. Ren, obviously she can't get with Hati, so she, that fight, Hati walked away from that alive. She handed over the star map to the Sith. She didn't get forced to. She just gave it to him. Ahsoka took care of her opponent, that initial Sith dude. She classed Balin during their initial encounter. She secured the map. Ahsoka did everything right. She was the only individual that did everything and or anything right in the whole episode. What are you going to do? Good help is hard to find. That's how the saying goes, right? So they cut to Syndulla and Carson and them, and they showed up in the airspace, or the space above Cedos. And it was at this moment in Syndulla's ship, I noticed for the first time, she brought her kid on a mission. Her kid was in the ship with her. Obviously he was there before, but for whatever reason in that scene, it was the first time I noticed it. I was like, she brought her kid to a battle? Weird. Okay, so they cut to the astral, what can only be the astral plane. So Ahsoka got knocked off the cliff. With Jedi, you never really truly know where they are, because death isn't really death for them, first of all. So they can be in their dimension, they can talk to the living, they can interact with the living. So it's like, death is a very vague concept for the Jedi. So in no way, shape, or form am I just going to say Ahsoka's dead. That's not even, there's no evidence to support that claim. So she's in the astral plane at this point, on this little river thing. It's all blue. It's very pretty. And she stands up. She's like, oh, man. And you hear the voice snips. I do know that's her nickname from Clone Wars and Rebels. I do know that much. That OG voice from my childhood, okay? From my high school years, Hayden Christensen. Bro. Y'all know on that Wednesday afternoon when I watched it here in Japan, I dang near lost my mind. Y'all know I lost my mind. Out the window. Gone. Like, bro, do not play around here. Don't play. So she turns around and lo and behold, I mean, come on, man, this is Anakin Skywalker, bro. This is Anakin. And it was Anakin. Hayden with the hair, the little mild CGI de-aging, even though Hayden Christensen is not even old, like, at all. But, bro, that scene was almost beyond comprehension. Oh, yeah, I was screaming. Screaming! Like, they nailed it with the show. They just nailed it. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, the whole crew, the whole cast and crew, they just know what to do. This show is amazing. It really is. So her encounter with Hayden, they didn't really say anything. Just a meeting in the astral plane. We're going to get more. He had the Jedi robes. Oh, it was just crazy. It was crazy. And I don't watch, like I've said in many of my reviews, for any show, I only watch the first trailer only because it used to be worse. They've gotten better now, but they put spoilers, like they put show spoilers in trailers. For the life of me, I still don't know why they do that, but usually the first trailer is safe. So I actually stopped reading the news, believe it or not, because of spoilers on the internet. So I didn't know Hayden was going to be in this episode by any stretch of I didn't know he was going to be in this show. It was a genuine surprise and a hype surprise. And that brought the episode to a close. They just did a little greeting, so we're going to get more into it in the next episode. Insane. Room for improvement. Nothing really. Like I said, the Ren thing, I can't make that a room for improvement. It was a part of the episode. It was frustrating, but it was a part of the plot. This episode in particular didn't have any room for improvements that I can point out. That's great. Usually that's reserved only for My Hero Academia, where I'm like, oh, there's no room for improvements. But in this episode, it clears. The rating of 15 out of 5. 15 out of 5. Yeah, again, no show has shattered my scale since My Hero Academia. I was giving some of those episodes like 20s, you know what I'm saying, out of 5. But legitimate, I wasn't playing. This episode gets a real and a legitimate 15 out of 5. Why? I already had it at a 5 out of 5 after the initial battle. Not even with Balin, just with Ahsoka, the Sith, Ren, and Hati. That was just dope all on its own. It wasn't just dope, it was tight because of the look she gave, Ren, the calm, stoic demeanor of Ahsoka, her acting, her expressions, Rosario Dawson, the Japanese influence. They were going through different forms deliberately. That first fight was tight. Then you get to Balin. That was just ridiculous. The movements Ahsoka was doing, the tension, the actual action, the action itself. It was legitimately amazing. I already had it and I was almost about to give it a 6 out of 5 just because those fights were so dope. But then they brought in Anakin Skywalker. One of my favorite fictional characters of all time, Darth Vader, Anakin. The drip, it's Anakin. Come on, bro, give me a break. And then it was played. It wasn't no CGI, like I said, maybe a little bit de-aging, but it was an actual human actor. It was Hayden Christensen himself. Bro, I was in here screaming, yelling. It's a 15 out of 5, bro. That's what you want to see. On a Wednesday morning / afternoon when you watch this, you got your coffee, you're chilling, you kick back, got your legs crossed. That's what you want to see. A guest appearance from the ether of Hayden Christensen, a.k.a. Anakin Skywalker, in a show. That's what you want. They did not mess this up by any stretch of the imagination. It was just dope. I loved it. Super awesome. 15 out of 5. Rare, but deserved. And that's it. That's it, man. Another clutch episode of Ahsoka in the books. The show just keeps getting better. Like I said, the pacing is nearly perfect. It's one of the standout elements of the show just on its own, so you can't go wrong with that. So watch my last review of Ahsoka, episodes 1 and 2. No, episode 3. Episode 3, Time to Fly. Another great episode. I gave that one I can't tell you the rating. That's a spoiler. Go watch the video. You will not be disappointed. Death Battle. The most recent death battle was Silver Surfer versus Martian Manhunter. Two extremely powerful characters by any metric. So did a reaction to that. Great episode, great animation. It had some great thematic elements in that death battle as well. Go check that out. And that's it. That's it. Another review, another episode in the books. We out here. Like I always say, because I genuinely mean it. Stay up. You always got to be this way in life. Never this way. There ain't nothing. That's not even real. There ain't nothing to that. Stay up. And until next time, which will be very soon, we out here flexing. Rosario Dawson. Peace.